My name, Jolly Rapper, that's rapper with a W. I'ma be doing a spoken word poem. If you do not like poetry, feel free to tune out. As a kid, I was into art, but I could never draw a perfect line. My hands were just too unsteady. Eventually, I got decent at drawing lines, gliding the pencil tip across the page ever so gently. I never knew what to draw, so I would always end up drawing lines. My hands just did what my mind was expressing. I figured out that every line I drew were just words I were suppressing. So I forced myself to stop drawing lines, but I couldn't help but question. Were the imperfect lines I refused to draw my only sense of acceptance, sense of protection, sense of direction, sense of a sensible sentence, my only sense of perfection? If I continued to fight this feeling of drawing lines, if I neglect it, would that only cause me to make more lines in any form or substance? From soft graphite to gloopy ink to dripping paint on canvas, from bleeding Sharpies to waxy crayons to grinding chalk in classes, from smudging charcoal to sculpting clay to stitching lines in fabrics, so many ways to create lines, I needed all the practice. Wait. You know what I just realized? Lines are everything. I know it might sound weird, but hear me out. Lines dictate our lives. How? Right now, you're all sitting in lines, here to watch a young poet recite his lines. And I know some of y'all use Google Maps to get to your destination, which means you followed a line. Palm readers read the what on your hands? The lines. An officer checks to see if you're tipsy by having you walk in a straight line. That same police officer shot and killed an innocent, unarmed black kid who was walking home from school. When the detectives arrived, they traced his cold, lifeless, limp body in a line of chalk. Society is teaching black kids to become tightrope walkers. Because if you walk these streets, you're walking a fine line, and there's no safety net that'll break your fall. And that ain't a problem, because the only way you'll fall is if they're caught slipping. They'll be grinning with pride. The trigger is lit in their eyes. They pull it, gripping it tight. You'll get hit from behind or hit from the side, and the officer will say something along the lines of, "These things happen in this line of duty." But don't give us that line. Even poets with fire lines can't avoid their line of fire. And who's to blame? Who's behind the line? It can't possibly be the schools, because the schools, they listen. The schools are gifted. The schools are dripping. The schools are dripping. Perhaps it's the leak in the school to prison pipeline. Stay silent, keep your hands to your sides, and stand in a single file. You could only participate if you sign your name on the dotted. Yeah, sure, you could be creative, but do not color outside we can't even spell discipline without line. All our lives are just lines, just timelines, and so many of our lives are cut too short. It's as if society is the scissors and we're the dotted lines. So, to all the people who hate when I write poetry, you're ugly. You say my lines are borderline offensive. Well, I'm bored of lines defending the true culprit behind the weapon in full disguise, pretending like each bullet strike is not plainly pointed towards the opposing side's direction. Us as in the U.S., why us is America, blinded by the giant shadow casted by their ego. We put up so many lines between each other, putting society in a box. Let's take those same lines and use them as a way to connect the dots. We as human beings are approaching the end of our time. So where do we draw the line?